agree. I like John Vervaeke's what he says about Plato is that we have a meta drive for wisdom, for uh and Vervaeke defines real rationality as a sort of psychological force to try to be in touch with reality. So we can
Hmm.
talk about that as that has to do with the way we moderns sort of think of narrow logic. You know, you want to be able to kind of understand amounts of things and be able to compare and to, do the things that merchants do and everything. And there's some interesting, maybe historical stuff about how maybe even money kind of helped lead to mathematics and that sort of reasoning.
Hmm.
But in general, I like his idea of the rationality as sort of many different ways of keeping, yeah, tracking reality, trying to track reality,
Hmm.
internal and external. And Plato's idea is that, as we kind of clean up the eye that looks internally, we can see more clearly the outside and vice versa too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that, like, um, in just in the way I was just talking about this story of it being sort of like threading the needle between succumbing to the tyrant or fighting the tyrant, sort of finding
Yeah.
that middle path there. Like, that's the reality of the situation. If you're under a tyrant, is you don't, you're not going to live under them forever. No, nothing lasts forever, although it could be hundreds of years of a tyrannical regime,
Yeah.
but nothing is impervious. And if you fight evil, oftentimes you run the risk of becoming evil or of strengthening evil.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about reality, this story is pointing out a reality where you fall into neither of those pitfalls, and yet you still manage to develop um, something good. Something good manages to develop out of it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I definitely am more on board with rationality as a we need some word to mean true seeing. We need some
Yeah.
word to mean
Yeah.
that. Then it shouldn't mean, well, okay, I thought this plus this equals this, so
Yeah.
rationally it must be correct. Like, you're not in
Exactly.
touch with
Yeah.
anything at that point. You're just looking at
Yeah.
numbers in your head. You're shadows on the wall, very, very, very
Yeah.
shadows on the wall.
And that's what's so powerful about Vervaeke's analysis of modernity. That one reason we probably have such a meaning crisis is that we ultimately kind of think that we're doing that, and that's we sort of think that's all that we can do. We can only see into the mind. I think, therefore I am, and that's all that I am.
Hmm.
Just these conscious thoughts, you know, and yeah, everything else is just subjective. I don't really believe it's not really true. It has nothing to do with reality. Yeah, so, and then there's nihilism, and uh, I might as well just be hedonistic or, amoral. I mean, there's literally people who have killed, who have said that it's, because there's no overall meaning, there's no God, there's nothing. So, I I'm a really smart person, and this other person was a doofus, and they mean they have no value, and so I might as well just kill them and kind of show my superiority. There's like a killing that happened in the
Hmm.
early 20th century about that something.
Fair
But
enough. I mean, it sounds very Dostoevsky, but I think what you're
yeah,
looking at
yeah,
right there is what happens when we fall prey to the inner tyrannical ruler. Nihilism, can't do anything about it. This is just the way things are. Um, I mean, killing people is just doing it's letting that thing enact its will on the world because nothing matters. I can do whatever I want. There's no. I mean, it's more complicated than because people aren't saying I can do whatever I want. Because